Okay, next we're going to talk about how to cut a potato. So first off, the potato has been washed, scrubbed, and dried. This is a russet potatoes. There's all different kinds of potatoes, all different sizes. As you can see, they're shaped differently, so they are a little bit trickier to cut, meaning that you need to stabilize your vegetables so that you're comfortable to cut it. So with the potato in particular, the first thing that I do is I create a stability to the potato. So I'm going to take this potato and just cut a flat portion like this. Now my potato is steady and it's stable, and I'm going to be able to cut it into, in this particular case, I'm going to dice potatoes. This would be something that you could use for soups or for making breakfast potatoes, but stabilizing your vegetable first is really, really important. That way there's no accidents. So I'm going to first cut this potato into what we call a large dice. So in particular with the potato, I'm going to, now I have this stable surface, I'm going to cut it into what we call planks. And because I'm doing a large dice, I'm actually only going to cut this particular potato into 3s. Okay? Now, I'm going to use this piece to show you how to do a large dice. I'm going to cut this plank in half. And I'm pretty particular about my cuts, so the first thing I'm going to do is just make sure that I have my vegetable a little bit more even. So I'm going to trim it. And the reason I want to make sure my vegetables are even in size is so that while I'm cooking it, I don't have a vegetable that's half done and overdone or not all the way done. This way, when you have the same size, it helps the cooking process. Okay? So now I'm going to just kind of even off my ends a little bit here so that I've squared it off. And like I said, I'm pretty particular, so I'm cutting this in half, this in half, this in half, and I have a large dice potato. We'll stack it up for you. Okay? This way, while I'm cooking potatoes, this could be for a chunky potato soup or breakfast potatoes, they're all going to cook approximately at the same time. Okay? Now, since I've cut a plank potato here, I've now decided that, hey, maybe later I'm going to want to make some French fries or oven fries. So I would want to cut this into like wedges, okay? So I have a stable potato here, and all I'm going to do is with my fingers tucked in under my knuckles, I'm going to cut this into wedges, and I am starting with having my knife a little bit at an angle, just so I can get this kind of wedge look to it. And I'm going to take these potatoes here, maybe use them for oven fries or use them for, a little bit of French fries later. If I notice that one of my wedges maybe is a little bit bigger than the other, I can always, kind of angle my knife again to kind of trim that a little bit so that it's more conformed with the other potatoes. Now, with this potato, I'm just going to show you how to do a smaller dice. Maybe this is something that you're doing for, maybe it's going to be for corned beef hash or something like that, where you want your potato to be a little bit smaller. So for this particular case, I'm going to actually cut this piece of potato into half. So if you remember me showing you before, you want to have your hand on top of the vegetable to secure it. Now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to split this layer in half with my fingers. See how my fingers are up? I don't want them down. Fingers up, pressure down on the vegetable, and now I've cut this piece into two. This is going to help me dice my vegetables smaller, and I'm going to have more control over this so I can get nicer cuts. Okay, so I have this thinner plank here. I'm going to tuck my fingers in. I'm going to dice my potatoes, going across the potato long ways. So I have what could be like McDonald's French fry cut potatoes. But in this particular case, I'm going to dice these potatoes. This is I'm going to use for corned beef hash. So I have my potatoes being diced. I'm going back across, fingers tucked under, and I'm going across, making sure that all of my potatoes are pretty uniform in size.